So, hello everyone, this is Suraj. Today we are talking about deadlock in SQL Server. So, the topic is deadlock in SQL Server. Okay, so let's begin with start with. So, step first. So, we ask what is deadlock. Okay, so a deadlock happens when two or more transactions are waiting to each other to release locks. Two or more transactions are waiting to waiting for each other to release lock. Okay, and none of them can proceed. None of them none of them can proceed. Okay, they are stuck for each. They are stuck forever. Okay, so let's take a simple real life example. Example. Imagine a person A hold key 1, a person hold key 1, okay, and wait for key 2, and person B person B hold key 2 and wait for key 1. So none of them. Okay, so this is really both are waiting to each other. Okay, so both are waiting generally each other. So and no one release their key. No one that release the key. Okay, that is deadlock. Okay, so let's take example of in SQL. So let's imagine transaction 1. There is some transaction included. Begin transaction, then update account, set balance is equal to balance plus minus 100, where ID is equal to 1, and then they have wait some time, and then they need update account, set balance is equal to balance plus 100, where ID is equal to 2. These are transaction happening, and they have continuously for other. And let's get another transaction. Let's take transaction 2. They start with begin transaction and start with update account set balance equal to balance minus 100, where ID is equal to 2. They executed it, and after that, and then they have wait, and then execute update account set balance equal to balance plus 100, where ID is equal to 1. In this scenario, okay, so let's say what happening inside. So in T1 lock row with ID 1, and T2 lock row with ID 2, and T1 wait for ID 2, and T2 wait for ID 1. Both are both wait forever. And deadlock occurrence. Then deadlock occurs. Okay. So let's take with what does SQL Server do? So for this scenario, what does SQL Server do? Okay. So database detect deadlock automatically. They have detected deadlock automatically. It choose it chooses one transaction as victim. That transaction is rolled back. Okay. You got error. The deadlock found when trying to get lock. When trying to get lock. Okay. Then what does happen? SQL maintain independently. What after happen? Okay. So why deadlock happen? So common reason have transaction update table in different order. transaction update tables in different order. Okay, and long running transaction and missing indexes. High concurrency and poor query design. So let's take how can we prevent deadlock. Okay, so we follow some steps. Always access table in same order. Always access order in same order. Example, if updating table A and table A and B, always update A first, then B. A first, then B. Okay, keep transaction short. Second type is keep short. Use proper indexing. Avoid unnecessary lock. And use appropriate isolation level. Okay, so let's take some important concept. Important concepts. Locking. So deadlock is really related to first row lock, then page lock, then table lock. When multiple transactions come in same resources. Come for same request. Okay, so let's take some point definition. Okay. A deadlock occurs then when two or more transactions permanently block each other, either by holding lock, and waiting for release lock, locked by the other transaction. So let's take some tips. If your application has high traffic, financial transaction, braking system, banking system, systems. Deadlock hacking, then deadlock handling must be important. Best practice, retard transaction if deadlock occurs. If deadlock occurs. Okay, so let's take a final message. Deadlock is not a bug, not a bug in database. It is concurrency design problem. Good database design reduce deadlock. That is our. So let's just revise it from start to end. So the topic is deadlock in SQL. So what is deadlock? A deadlock happens when two or more transactions are waiting for each other to release lock, and none of them can proceed. They are stuck forever. Simple real life example. Imagine if a person hold key 1 and wait for key 2. A person will hold key 2 and wait for key 1. Both are waiting to each other. None of release the key. That is deadlock. SQL example. They have two transactions. In first transaction, update account set balance. His balance is equal to minus 100, where ID is 1, and then wait. And then update account set balance is equal to balance plus 100, where account is 2. And another transaction have begin transaction update account set balance is equal to balance minus where ID is 2, and then waiting. And update account set balance is equal to 100, where ID is 1. What happened? Transaction 1 lock row with ID 1, and transaction 2 lock row with ID 2, and transaction 1 wait for ID 2, and transaction 2 wait for ID 1. Both wait forever. Deadlock occurrence. What does SQL Server do? Dat- database detect deadlock automatically. It choose one transaction as victim. That transaction is rollbacked. You got error deadlock found when trying to get lock. Why deadlock happen? Common reason they have transaction update table in different order and long running transaction, missing indexes, poor query design. How to prevent deadlock? Always access table in same order. Example, if updating table A and table B, always update first then B. Keep transactions short. Use proper indexing. Avoid unnecessary locks. Use appropriate isolation level. Important concept we take. Deadlock related to row lock, page lock and table locks. When multiple transactions come for same resources. Let's take definition. A deadlock occurs when two or more transactions permanently block each other by holding lock. and waiting for his resource locked by other transaction. And real world tip. If your application has high traffic, financial transaction and banking system, deadlock handle must be important. Best practice use retry transaction if deadlock occurs. Let's take final message. Deadlock is not a bug. It is a database. It is concurrency design problem. Good database design is reduced deadlock. That is all out. Thank you.